Greetings, fellow pilgrims and stalwarts. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to Frostpunk 2, Episode 11, Prepare for Winterhome. Old Dreadnought has so much oil that we're swimming in it. We're like Scrooge McDucking into the oil. Woo! Alright, in we go into the storm. The other thing I could do is generator overdrive. Ha! We're gaining oil during a whiteout. That's right. I think to combat the food shortage, I am going to research advanced hothouses and then build a and I'm only doing this to make it clear because we don't have a heating shortage. We actually are gaining oil during a whiteout. Because I was overcautious. It's not a bad thing. So setting up another hothouse. And we also phased out those dense housing projects that cause disease. But look at the fuel usage, man. Like, this housing unit requires 320. Like, woo, 380 over here. Because we produce just oodles of oil, like, I don't care. But if you're playing for yourself, one smart thing to do is any production facility that doesn't need to be running just to turn off, as that helps to keep down your fuel costs. But I'm swimming in fuel. The only bad news is squalor jumps tremendously because as you burn more oil, you're producing a lot more squalor. So as you can see, there is a extreme output of squalor. But yeah, that's fine. I have a bunch of ventilation towers to filter it. So we're doing just fine. We are chilling in this storm. Materials are going up. Goods are going up. Housing is available. Oil's going up. And the pilgrims aren't even, they're not even in a fervor. And I have, oh, you know what? I'm gonna fund the New Londoners. I have devoted New Londoners, devoted stalwarts, and supporting Frostlanders. My Frostlander support is actually extremely high, considering they oppose almost every decision I've ever made. They're like, you know, your politics suck, but hey, we're alive, and it's all thanks to you, so thank you. It's essentially their, what they're about. If they don't like the squalor, they can go out and breathe fresh air. What temp does carbon dioxide freeze? I think it's what, negative 80 Celsius? Yes. If you went outside in this temperature and breathed, your breath would freeze. Your carbon dioxide you breathe out would freeze. That's how freaking cold this is. So I don't suggest you go outside. Something tells me no bueno from that. Those left behind. Steward, over the howling winds of the whiteout, the pilgrims have accused the stalwarts of indoctrinating pilgrim children into their youth program. Since other pilgrim left, kids began leaving for the stalwarts in droves. Yeah! Pilgrims assert that the stalwarts are trying to swear the children into their ranks before pilgrim mentors return. Let's, there was no ill intent. Your old ways are dumb. Progress is inevitable. Quit your bitchin'. Alright, so we expanded our food running out a bit by excessive fertilization and a second hothouse. So we're fine on that front.
To avoid unnecessary queuing.
We have 2,433 weeks of fuel during a whiteout. That's 46 years of fuel that we could just burn in this storm, and that's without me tinkering with the leathers. Like, obviously I could shut more things down and expand that even more. But yeah, we're fueled, dude. We are fueled. Advanced chemical hothouses can be built. You know, they cost cores, so I'm going to hold off on building those. I don't really want to use up my cores. This is not the last chapter, by the way. There is more. I'm going to turn off overdrive, which is going to burn more fuel, but still, we have 166 weeks of fuel, and the whiteout is over in like 10 weeks. We are going to need another vent tower because Squalor is climbing as a result of the new hothouse. Plus, if I needed more fuel, I could just... So I want to show you just an example. So if we wanted more fuel, I could turn on the activated district, run it as ghost crew as possible, turn off the scouts headquarters because we don't need it, only have the automated freight dock on, and then export a lot more fuel to New London from Old Dreadnought. So now our fuel deficit is almost gone. Head over to Dreadnought, and then actually put more people on the pump jacks because they weren't even fully utilized. So balancing this budget so that, you know, both of the stockpiles are being dwindled at roughly equal ratios. Something like that. So even during the storm, you can still obviously transfer resources between your colonies. It's just the outposts can't be used. Oh, the other thing is the storm is passing. So it passes, in this case, like west to east. So some of the westernmost outposts can now be used again. Which means even if we're in mid-storm, I can start turning on the freight dock and outpost stuff. Because there are parts of it that the storm has passed. So let's turn that stuff back on. Yeah, let's start surveying the west. So that's still blocked due to weather. Yeah, it's still going to be blocked due to weather for survey teams, but we can start exploiting the resources and boosting research or prefab collection. Yeah, it's about all that we can do. Because everything else is still blocked by storms. Well, we can activate the hot springs, I think. Because that's like a colony, even though it's not owned by us. Ooh, even the mushroom cave? Okay, we've got food now. And the growing squalor will go away once the whiteout is done. The squalor is a direct result from the excess oil that had to be burned to counteract the whiteout conditions. Just making sure there's no laws I want to pass. No. I mean, part of me kind of wants to repeal the machine attendants. But I don't think anyone else wants that. Yeah, not enough want it. Whew. That was chilly. That was pretty chilly. Now there's still some latent storm sometimes. Maybe not this storm. But often what will happen is, yeah, see the sometimes there's still like latent storm conditions where you're not allowed to explore until it really passes. So it's already passed New London, but it hasn't necessarily passed, you know, the other sections of the world. But we're surveying the map tile now. Charting the meadow, Tesla crater, and hot springs. Yeah, I don't need anyone at hot springs. All right, whiteouts still a threat. Ice turns to steam as the whiteout wanes, but it's clear that we are far from keeping New London warm forever. The whiteouts are not gone. What will we do if the horrors of a whiteout years return? Asked the stalwarts. If we want to withstand them without fear, we must improve the generator even more, and that will require a great deal of cores. Dozens. We will only know one site with so many cores, the metal roots of Winterhome's ruined generator. So, new goal. To prepare Winterhome for colonization. Colonize Winterhome. Past the gorge in the Curse Valley lies the failed city of Winterhome. Our scouts have avoided the ruins for years, yet without its cores we cannot upgrade the generator to its full potential. We must reach Winterhome and chart the area around it. Alright. Let's go ahead and Frostbreak over to the last logistics zone so that I can have 3 logistics districts for even more scouting. And because I'm not really... Oh, boy. I have so much oil incoming. Because I don't really need the vast amounts of oil, we can also go to the other and break down the automated freight dock to turn it into a logistics dock for more teams. Pressure point. Stuart, a handful of desperate pilgrims gathered in front of the generator earlier today. One spoke at the gathering to the gathering crowd as they painted themselves in oil. She detailed a different plan for Winterhome, one that would breathe a second life into the cursed land. We cannot destroy Winterhome for its cores. We must settle it. We must adapt. This is our last chance to make you hear us, Stuart. So we must be loud. And with that, they set themselves alight. Rescue teams were able to save the would-be martyrs, but our people are clearly shaken by the immolation. The Stuarts urge you to get ahead of the narrative before people are swayed to their cause. What should we do? We are going to spin the narrative, so the fervor for the pilgrims are going to be increased, but my relation with the stalwarts will go up. And then I'm going to use my reputation with the Frostlanders to de-radicalize the pilgrims, because I have a very strong relationship with the Frostlanders, so that will keep them from radicalizing and wreaking havoc. All right, honestly, I'm producing so much oil I don't even need it, so let's go over to Old Dreadnought and reduce its oil output. I'm actually gonna, you know what I could do? I could turn off the super jacks and see if I can't run without them. Not quite, so I'll keep maybe one of them on. I'm trying to find like a nice balance here. There. That looks pretty good. We're only losing like 10 oil in each location. That's nothing. It is going to get colder, so that cost will go up. But it's not concerning at all to me. Plus, I can always rebalance it. So at this point, I am going to quickly try to accelerate towards the end of the story so that we can start the utopia. As I'm pretty sure you understand a lot of the fundamental game mechanics at this point. I've explained them in pretty good detail. So let's get to finish this story. This is not the last chapter, but we have definitely optimized this town, like, pretty much as it needs to be, I'd say. So I am adding a lot more Frostland teams to the roster. We've already found where Winterhome is. It was over here. Ruins of Winterhome. The thing is, it's still covered by a storm, so I can't get there just yet, because it's storm-locked. So instead, I'm going to spend some time surveying around, because in order to build the upgrade that they had talked about, it requires a lot of cores, right? That's what they said. So getting cores outside of Winterhome is going to lower the cost of upgrading our generator. And if we take a look at the research projects here, in heating, it's this generator hyperdrive regulator, which costs 40 cores. So we're going to start researching the idea ahead of time. And we know that we need 40 cores to be able to make it work. So that's the goal, is to obtain 40 cores. Oh, 3,000 more people living amongst us. Alright, I'm going to turn back on these dense housing blocks. And I think what I'm going to do is another industrial district making prefabs. I want to put them to work doing something. And I could do another industrial district here as well. Okay. looks good. A little bit colder, but not that concerning. And I'm going to stick a hub in here, like a materials hub, as that affects almost everything that I've been building in there. Another logistics bay. And use the teams. So, I want to keep scouting. Like I said, we're trying to scout for as many of the cores as we can get so that it's a lot cheaper to build the hyperdrive. Because Winterhome is a ruin for a reason. It's not easy to inhabit. So I'm trying to make as many preparations ahead of time so that we don't have to be there for a long time. I guess a goods stockpile? Actually, I don't have a lot of goods. I'll do a material stockpile, even though I don't think it's all that necessary. And most of the new facilities, the manufacturing facilities, are making prefabs. Because I want to amass as many prefabs as I can, because colonizing a new town is going to require a massive amount of prefabs. I got more teams. And as soon as the storm passes over Winterhome, we can go back to it. Ooh, a pilgrim's protest. I am going to ignore the protest. They are protesting extraction strongholds, heat overclocking, and machine-centric shifts. So if we take a look at New London, they are protesting in this housing district, which shuts down the facilities that would work there, which is a surveillance tower and a ventilation tower. And I can quell the protests if I had guard enforcers law in effect. I can try to negotiate that with them, or I can try to counter-protest. But the problem with counter-protesting is counter-protesting will cause the opposing faction, which is the stalwarts, to also gain fervor, which then could cause both groups to start murdering one another. So, question. How to handle the protest? Negotiation? So negotiation would be to tell the pilgrims that I will either repeal things they don't like or enact things that they do like. I could counter-protest or enact guards, and you guys can pick. I'll give you 1 minute. So enacting guards, what that would require is it will require me to go into rule. So this is the first time I would ever go into rule. And I would need to pass guard enforcers as a law, allowing my guards to quell protests, which would need to win by 2/3 majority. But already 54 out of the 67 I would need are for it. So it doesn't seem too difficult to go that route either. As pretty much all the stalwarts and probably most of the New Londoners are in support of it, because the stalwarts and New Londoners rival the pilgrims, so they would want to see the pilgrim protests shut down. And if you don't counter the protests, what ended up happening is the protests can spread and affect more districts, shutting them down and preventing those districts from producing things and that kind of stuff. So it can have some really negative consequences if you don't take care of it. Oh boy, that's a lot of material. Okay, so you guys want me to try to enact the guards. I think the best thing I can do is negotiate possibly with the Frostlanders to try... Well, we'll see. We'll take a look at how people are going to vote. So I'm going to propose guard enforcers. And for it, only about half of the New Londoners support it. And about half of the Frostlanders support it. And most of the stalwarts support it. So I'm going to negotiate. Well, you know what I could do? Before I negotiate, because as soon as I start to negotiate, even if it doesn't pass, anything I promise, so like let's say I negotiate to the New Londoners, and I say, hey, if you vote for this, I'll do this other thing. If it doesn't pass, I still have to fulfill what I negotiated for. It's a promise. So what I'm going to do is have a vote for it, because maybe it will pass on its own. And if it doesn't, then I'll come back to the table with negotiations. Because maybe it might have a chance to pass on its own. It did!
Law has been
71-4. Alright. I'm glad I took that route. So, I can go to the district and say, hey, quell the protests. And now guards, 24 guards are going to be dispatched to quell the protests. And, I am going to build another surveillance tower so that I can quell at least 2 at once. I'm going to get ahead of these protests, seeing the direction that they're taking. Path to power for the city's safety. Steward, the Pilgrims' protest has terrified many in the city. Many are calling a response from the council. I think I did that. Yeah, I already passed the... Okay. Yep, yeah, it's enacted, because we did that. A little bit of bug. That's alright. At least it didn't lock me into the, into the talk. So, you can see this little icon here, the pilgrim icon that's red. And as the white decreases, the protests are being essentially dispersed. Alright, I have some, let's see. I'm going to shut down the Baron's operation as well. I don't really like the slavers being slavers in my own backyard. Just a personal preference. We might believe in merit, but, we don't believe in slavery either. Alright, protests are over. Oh, no, it's still in progress. There it goes. Now it's quelled. Luckily, we countered the protests fast enough that it didn't do any damage to the district. Which is good. Alright, survey teams. What did you find? A prefab and cores. Good. Good. And with the remaining teams that I have, I'm just going to start hunt. Oh, no, blocked by storm. Never mind. Reinstating. I wouldn't mind like another outpost of sorts, but I don't know where to establish one. No, I guess we'll wait. I'll boost research speed with my remaining teams. So I need to produce a little bit more goods. There we go, meeting supply. And we have multiple teams about to finish up survey. So, a herd and a wrecked warehouse with a core. Let's grab the core. I'm going to cancel the research boost and see if I can't survey something new. So I would, if you are in this act, I would highly advise that you try to obtain as many cores as you can. You don't necessarily have to, but just a suggestion. Try to obtain as many cores as you can without going into Winterhome to make it easier on yourself. I don't think, having played multiple times, I don't think I would need to do that, but, it's just advice for you. Makes life a little bit easier. Alright. I can establish my own operation here at the shipwreck camp. Or take everything to London. New London. I'll wait for, So establishing our own gives us income of heat stamps, basically running our own smuggling. Or taking everything to New London adds Frostlanders to New London. So I'm going to establish my own operation. I know, it's a little criminal, but what's a little crime for the greater good? Am I right? At least we're not slavers. We also finished scouting something else. Oh, yeah, down here. So another fishing spot. A site of conflict. So I would need people to take the cores. I don't have them. And then some buried bodies. So this is where an expedition team died. Down this way. Okay, here is the Baron's Cave, where it's 2 heat stamps per week, but I'm going to turn that off so I can keep surveying for cores. And I'm surveying for cores as much as I can until the ruins of Winterhome are explorable. They're just blocked by a storm. So as soon as I can actually get to Winterhome, I will. I'm not going to max out the amount of cores that I can get purposefully. I'm going to just spend whatever time I can. With the Frostland teams. Things look pretty good at home. Got oodles and oodles of cash. Got oodles and oodles of prefabs. Everything's in the gold. Fuel's down, but I could always ramp that up at any given moment. It's only down because I have less fuel. You know what? Actually, let's do that. Let's turn another one of these super pumps on so that I'm in the fuel positive. Why not? Or almost in the fuel positive. Fine. I'll turn all of them on. It is negative 50 Celsius, so it's pretty cold. Now I'm in the fuel positive, so that you don't have to panic. The only issue is I don't have a lot of room for storage. So, yeah. There we go. And just to be in the I'd like to be in the materials positive too. So we're already getting the materials from that Imperial trader. The only other easy materials outpost to set up is over here, the Dreamer's Mine, but that's still blocked by storm, but soon it won't be. So maybe I'll annex that when I'm able. So down here, let's repair or take the cores. More cores. So that will bring us up to 17 out of 40 that we need. Not bad. And the storm's almost passed over Winterhome's entryway. Now, there is not an infinite amount of, like, outside area. I don't need coal and materials. I don't need food. And there are more cores over here. So, given the choice, you can either get robotic workforce or cores. So, at every turn, I've been choosing cores. But, you know, there's an argument to be made that, like, robotic workforce is helpful because it allows more of your you know, it keeps things running without a human workers. But with my current population where it is, I have like an excess amount of human workers, which is why I feel fine, you know, just taking the cores instead. Oh, there we go. So almost passed over by the storm. One thing that's interesting is I haven't had anyone immigrate to Winterhome in a bit. Which is probably good, because I don't really have anything meaningful for them to do. I already have 1,500 people that are unemployed, which is a pretty high unemployment rate. I could ship them over to Old Dreadnought and put them to work in the oil rigs, but I don't really feel the need to. Oh, you know, I've been running this hot springs this whole time. I've not been meaning to do that. I should have been paying more attention. So now I might have enough people to do more surveying. Coast? Nope. Mountains? Nope. That all needs 25. So let's stop harvesting the deer, and then I'll have 25. Oh, actually, no, Winterhome is still locked. At this rate, I actually might get the whole map surveyed before too long.
Stewart.
Thank you for tuning in to Frostpunk 2, which originally streamed live on Twitch September 21st. If you have any feedback or questions for me, let me know in the comments below, but please keep in mind that I'm trying to avoid spoilers. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you would like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching, and a special thank you to my Patreon patrons, Twitch subscribers, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow survivors.